One of the first things you learn as a carpenter is how to lay out wall plates for studs. It's really pretty simple, so I'm going to show you how to do it today. Now, you're going to take your top plate and your bottom plate and lay them down and flat on the deck. You can either lay them one on top of the other or edge side up. It's a matter of preference. I like it with the top plate stacked on top of the bottom plate so that then I can mark across the face to get my studs nice and straight. And we're going to have a stud every 16 inches down the wall. It's called a 16 on center layout. And since we're doing studs every 16 inches, you'd think that I was going to mark at 16, 32, 48, but in reality I'm actually going to go 3/4 of an inch before each stud mark because I need to leave room. I need to account for the fact that the sheathing has to land in the middle of a stud, and I'm going to show you more about that in a minute. But first, we're just going to pull our tape down here and make the first mark at 15 1/4, and then draw a line to one side of it. Now I can just find the next red mark on my tape measure, which is 32, and again I'm going to take 3/4 of an inch off and make a mark. And I just move my way down the wall here. The next one is 47 1/4. The next one is 63 1/4. Next one is 79 1/4. And then at the end of the stud is 8 feet. So in order for one stud to bridge between two different plates, I'm going to mark it at 95 1/4. Now what I like to do is take both plates, lay them next to each other like this, and then take a speed square and transfer those marks from one plate to the other. A lot of guys will just mark the top edge of the plate. It's faster that way, but I like to mark across the whole face of the plate because when you go to assemble the wall, if you're working with any bowed studs or curved studs, and they're all bowed and curved these days, it really helps you to be able to tweak them back to layout and get them straight. The line really helps you get it right where you want it. Now, remember that we burned 3/4 of an inch off of each one of these measurements. And the reason for that is because when I put on the sheathing on the outside of the house, you really want that seam to land in the middle of a stud. So as you can see, when I nail it on, by burning 3/4 of an inch, which is half the width of a stud, I now can straddle this stud and have solid nailing for both pieces of sheathing, this one and the one that's going to come next. The only other trick here is that when you separate your top and your bottom plates, you don't mess up this X orientation. You want to make sure you have the X on the same side of the line for both so that when you lay the stud, it doesn't end up canted. And that's the basics of wall plate layout.